All right, episode number 58 of Stream of Thought. We are back, and for this episode, God, we start off by, what do we start off by talking about?
I don't even remember, to be completely honest.
I think we need to redo this.
No. We talk about Choose Your Own Adventure, where you make the choice.
Do we talk about politics first? Or we talk about afterwards?
We talk about racism after we talk about the first thing. And I have no idea what it is, the first thing that we talk. Oh, the Sleep Cycle app. We talk about the Sleep Cycle app again. My indifference towards it, where I was super gung-ho before, and now I'm just kind of like, it's all right.
It's an ongoing process. And then, yes, we talk about something going on at Evergreen University. Crazy story about racism. Victor was pretty shocked to hear about it, which transitions us into, well, you know.
We now just pretty much identify racism with the current administration. So we talk about
it's so much more nuanced than that, but
yes.
Whatever. And then, speaking of controversies, talk not too much about Glen Ellen's issue of gas stations. Oh, the 7-Eleven raid.
Yeah,
that was
7-Eleven
also kind
raids.
of fun.
And then we kind of wrap things up on just like a few little interesting things that I hear on the Twilight Zone that if you heard them in today's programming, those shows would be taken off the air so quickly. And there would be so much uproar in social media. But back then, it was totally normal. So, with that being said, episode number 58, Stream of Thought. We hope you enjoy.
So as I'm leaning back in this chair right now, it is kind of lopsided, and I'm getting into this habit of
Getting salt all over the windowsill here.
No, man, I took my shoes off.
I know, but I saw that the other day, and I thought to myself,
oh, yes,
I thought to myself, that's
totally
not from me, is it?
No.
And I was trying to think of how I sit, and I was like, no. And then I thought, I wonder if Rix is going to try and blame that on me. I wonder if Rix is
that's exactly
say
where
something about that, and then he's going to try and blame it on me.
That's exactly where my feet go. I'm surprised Dulce hasn't cleaned that. That was very...
Yeah.
Well, there is electronics over here, so. But anyway, so Ray ended up giving me this chair as a gift whenever he wants to like get rid of crap. Like he's like, Rix, do you want this?
Yeah.
And it just so happened that one of those pieces of crap was like a chair that actually had some padding in it, as compared to the chair that I'm using right now, which office chair just flat. It hurts my butt, man, when I sit in it. So the only problem, it's a very nice chair. The only problem is that one of the wheels is like loose and detaches itself. I haven't figured out how to like make it stick permanently. But something weird will happen where it always ends up on one side of the chair and it always pops loose, and I don't know how. I don't know when. Like I get up, it moves the chair in a way that like pops the wheel loose, but it seems stable when I put it back in place because it fits in this hole. But there will be times where I just lean back and suddenly I'm like, woo! And I go for a little trip.
You should try super gluing it. Because it rotates. No, because if you look on the there should be a ring.
Yeah.
So you have the wheel, and then you have a metal rod, and then at the base of that rod there should be a ring. Okay. And that's where it swivels and moves around.
I'll figure it out. It's not that.
And that
big.
ring is where it locks into the plastic.
Well, maybe I'll YouTube it. I'm sure there's a YouTube video.
I bet there is. That's pretty funny. So I'm having some second thoughts on the Sleep Cycle app. It's still really great, and I realized
now that
I may have talked it up too much too soon. And the reason that I say that is because, for example, today I took a nap, and I look at it, and I thought to myself, I was clearly awake during a good portion of this, yet it did not see that I was awake, and I was like, oh man, I wonder if the rest of my data is skewed. But then I remember you said your Fitbit is very accurate because it's around your wrist, and the data is almost verbatim as that in the Sleep Cycle. Now, when I wake up in the middle of the night, I look at my watch, right? Yes. And I know exactly what time it is. And I look at my sleep cycle the next day, and I was like, well, I was definitely awake during this portion, I think, and this portion. And so I'm just starting to be a little apprehensive.
A little skeptical? And don't forget too, it doesn't necessarily have 100% accuracy. There are some times where, I mean, where's your phone placed? You know, there's all these different things to take into consideration to make sure that it's getting the right sensors, and you have kind of an old phone too.
Well, then I was thinking too, like, is this what the next 20 years of my life is going to be? I'm gonna ask myself, did I get good sleep by looking at data? I'll know if I get good sleep.
Yeah.
But the next thing I was getting at was if Apple had somehow built into their alarm clock that they have in the iPhone an alarm that does the reverse lullaby, I don't need the app, the sleep cycle app. As long as I can get that reverse lullaby in any way possible.
Yeah, to get you up on the... Exactly, yeah.
Because and
you're talking about reverse lullaby, where it notices that you're waking up, and it brings you out of that sleep.
Well, it doesn't even have to notice that you're waking up. Like, if I can be in the middle of a deep REM cycle at 5 a.m, and if I'm slowly being woken up...
You gotta wait.
But you know what? Today
I 15 minutes.
Today I did wake up at like 5:07, and I thought to myself, I wonder if 5 a.m. would have really fucked me over. If 5:07,
it's possible. It's because your sleep cycles are pretty unpredictable. So you could totally have been in a deep sleep 5 minutes earlier, and you could have been having this like super intense dream. Because they say you have something like, it's an insane amount of dreams over the course of the night.
I've only been able to keep track or know of a handful, like 7 or 8 is a lot to like know, like, okay, tidbits of like, oh, this and this and this and this and this. And the fun thing is, like, when they're all just completely crazy dreams, but then you can remember how they all link together.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have a bunch of, it's your brain just discarding, it's just unloading. It's just just too much processing when you're awake, and it's just...
Well, don't forget, too, each dream only lasts about 3 or 4 seconds.
No way.
Yeah, a full story. So when you're woken up out of a deep sleep and you're a visceral dream, wake up from a nightmare or something like that, and you just remember this like long-ass story, 3 or 4 seconds.
No way! I did not know that.
Yeah. Dreams are extraordinarily short, which is why, like, for those people who have never experienced dreams, they
time.
So much is going on there.
That's so crazy. 3 or 4 seconds. So in 3 or 4, it's like
It could be something like 30 seconds, but it's less than a minute. It's absolutely less than
a minute. And then it's like when you're in deeper and deeper in sleep, you go farther and farther. What's the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio when they go into the dreams?
No,
it starts with the letter I.
Oh my god.
So it's like that. Like,
are you talking about down the rabbit hole?
No.
No, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Inception.
Oh, Inception. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, like with time, when they go deeper and deeper, they could spend years and years and years down there. But on the surface, it's really like,
Well, I think
5 minutes.
I think they make reference to that too. I think they talk about that in the movie, which is the premise.
Because they're on that flight. It's like I don't know, 9, 12, 16-hour flight.
Science.
And they need it to be that length, and they have this whole plan to go deeper and deeper, and they go and get that, like, Japanese guy who got stuck because he was, like, slowly dying, and he's super, super old, and then they bring him back. What a mindfuck that would be, to be, like, to age, and then all of a sudden you're brought back, in quote-unquote real time, and you're still, like, whoa.
Yeah.
That'd be so wild.
It's crazy. So yeah, fun fact for the day. But yeah, I would say, and it's one of those things too, because going back to the sleep cycle really quick, I've been using it now for probably since Christmas, so to 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks almost, and I am getting to that point right now where I'll glance at it when I wake up, but I'm not like absorbing the numbers and be like, I was like, oh okay, cool, like it kept relative track, make sure that they're about similar. Just be like, fine, whatever. But it's interesting because it starts accumulating data. It like starts putting all these data points together, so you can start to see trends as the weeks and months go on. Where it's like, oh, like Tuesday nights or whatever. You can see where you're getting less restful sleep, or you can see where you're, where you're the most relaxed during the weekend. During the weekend, something like that. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see when all of those data points come in.
Yeah, I still have pretty much a month of my free trial. What's next on your agenda?
Oh yeah, so since you obviously don't have any topics,
Talking
I
points.
get to control the next topic of
Are
conversation.
we gonna do the choose your
Racism,
adventure?
racism. Yeah, you chose the adventure the other time. So anyway, this could be really brief, and it's not like super. I was reflecting on it, and I wanted to get your input as a white man who doesn't really care about racial politics at all. There's this university, and it was featured in a lot of news stories. Gosh, probably about 6 months ago or something like that. PBS had a special on them. Their nightly news hour had a special on them about a week and a half ago. Evergreen University was the college campus, and maybe you heard of it, calling for a day of abstinence, of asking or telling white students to be absent from campus and just have minority students there as like a show of solidarity to the legacy of oppression over the course of humankind. So, needless to say, like, when you have something like that going on, shit hit the fan. And so it all started when these viral videos of a white male professor said, in response to, because it used to be a voluntary day of absence, and they wanted to make it into a mandatory. So, like, saying white people should be actively discouraged from coming to campus, as opposed to, like, if you want to show solidarity, like, as a white person, you can stay off of campus, as to like strongly encourage.
Do they realize that that is only going to get the white students who... It's only going to rally the white students together.
Oh man, dude. Fox News
Are you
had
fucking
a
thinking about, like,
day.
are you thinking about this at all? Like, you don't think the white students are going to get together and rally against them being, like...
Well, here's where it became a national story, is that this white professor ended up saying, well, maybe this isn't a good idea that we mandate white students be absent. And the shit that he got, it's on camera. These African American students, and again, I'm trying to be as like objective as I can in the analysis.
Yeah.
I always want to be cautious around these sort of topics. But the African American students, most of whom were women, were blockading his office as he was trying to leave, chanting basically the equivalent of like, you're racist or things like that. And he's like, okay, like I've heard what you had to say, like, now can I share my response after listening to you? And they're like, no, we don't want to hear it. And then they shouted him down again and basically bullied him into resigning. And so he ended up just quitting his job.
Wow.
And him harboring a bunch of resentment towards this whole situation, as is probably justifiable, ended up going on all these conservative talk shows, basically saying this is the problem with trying to talk about race, is that this is the result, is that you just get angry mobs whenever you try to appease people who want justice in whatever they think it should look like.
I think the thing that pisses me off the most is what you just said, when someone voices their opinion, but they don't allow other people to voice an opinion that might contrast with their own. It's a two-way street when you are like, you know what I'm saying?
I do.
When you're trying to make an argument.
Now, I will say, because part of why I went to seminary in the first place was that I was fascinated by one of my favorite theologians, Dr. James Cone, who you see a lot of his ideas popping up in instances like this, where his is a confrontational and adversarial approach to race relations. Basically, the perspective is white people cannot be trusted with having any sort of say in the dialogue, because they have proven every time that they have a say in the dialogue, they dominate it and push down minority opinions. And so white people's responsibility should be to shut up and listen. And for me, like, when I first heard that, I had the same reaction I think that we all do. Like, wow, like, you hate me because I'm white? Like, what the hell? You're telling me just as a white person I should shut up and listen. And it's interesting because for whatever reason, I tried it. Like, it's as counterintuitive as that is. And like I said, I made a comment like that on YouTube. On Philip DeFranco's show, we talked about that many episodes ago, and the shit that I got is like being this like white sissy boy cuck or whatever. When I said, "Hey, there's nothing wrong with like listening to what a marginalized or oppressed group has to say," and people are just so resistant to that. But anyway, like I did it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and put aside my biases or my like objections or whatever, and try and listen. And when I did, I was like, oh my goodness, like I am listening to a pain and suffering that I could never have fathomed from just my perspective through my eyes. Like I had to put myself into the eyes of somebody who, James Cone was somebody who saw lynchings, who saw black people lynched in the South as he was growing up. It was a way of life, and to be like, wow, like if that was your only exposure to white people growing up, that they're the white man come to hang you kind of thing, of course that would leave this indelible, like, think of how traumatic that is. And so to have some sort of sympathy for those personal and existential experiences for me is like, that's good. What these type of individuals did just seems so like, why? I guess my ultimate response is like, if you have an end goal in mind, like that's fine, but they just seem to want to just be mean to a white person who disagreed. And it's like, well, that's not very constructive. Like, they don't have any theological or educational or academic substance to their complaints. They're just doing it because they're angry. They don't know why they're angry, but they want to hurt someone. Yeah. Emotionally hurt someone. Like they feel like they've been emotionally hurt.
So, are there any in the history? Have there been any like mobs of white people being pissed off about being asked to not be on campus?
What do you mean?
Like, so this is the first time they're making it mandatory, or they've talked about making it mandatory.
Yeah. No, it's never been an issue before because it was all voluntary.
Okay.
It was all voluntary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. I think it could have been like it was last year. That they
were talking about making it mandatory. It was never a mandatory.
Not mandatory, but strongly encouraged. Like you would get dirty looks if you were a white person on campus.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
But the fact that that's still going, that sort of stuff is still going on, and that there's this raw emotion that, like, I mean, shit. What do you do about an instance like that where you just have, I mean, no possibility, it seems like, of communication?
I saw an interview with Morgan Freeman. I cannot recall who was interviewing him.
Morgan Freeman, but interesting.
Definitely okay. Morgan Freeman, and the interviewer asked him something. I think he said something like along the lines of like, as a black actor or black man. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, African or whatever. He's like, no, like I'm just a man. I'm just an actor. And he's like, well, how do you he kept prodding at the fact that he was black, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, well, how do we stop racism, or how do we alleviate it? And he said, you stop talking about it. What you're doing right here, he's pretty much said, like, what you're doing right here, you're bringing it to life. Mm-hmm. I am not Morgan Freeman, the black man, and you are not so-and-so, the white man. Like, you're just this person, and I'm this person, and we're two humans being on Earth. You stop giving it so much attention. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much what he said. And I remember, like, the guy, like, didn't really know how to respond to that. And Morgan Freeman's just sitting there with this look on his face like, all right, next question. Like, yeah. That's been said and done. Got that covered. Like, yeah.
Racism. I think we got to end the interview.
I'm not saying we don't talk about it, but I'm saying in certain areas it's brought to life when it doesn't have to be to as high a degree.
I think you raise a very good point there. I think that actually that's more or less the way that I operate. I operate in the way is like, okay, so my underlying philosophy of the way that I live my life is like, they'll know we are Christians by our love. Mm-hmm. Like, for me, it's always this like attempt to like go towards love of other people. And so I found that the best way to show people who disagree with you, like political, religious ideologies, whatever, like that disagree with you, that your side is not evil, is by being a good person to them and like befriending them. Mm-hmm. That's why I feel like I have such a good relationship with Ray and with my other friend who drives me to our meetings, right?
Yeah.
Is because I listen and I say, I'm not going to judge you based off of your, you get judgment. I feel like your perception is that you're getting judged by the world. Like you're getting judged by everyone around you. They complain about that all the time. Like there's judgment towards the white man. Like they're very upset about that. And I'm like, I want to let them know I identify myself with who you see as the opposition. But I'm not going to judge you. Like I'm not participating in that stereotype. Like I'm not judging you. We don't need to talk about it. Like we can if you want. I'll be honest. I won't judge you, but like I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to befriend you. I'm still going to have conversations with you. And there's more that unites us than divides us. And simply just for me, like by being a good person, I'm showing them, oh, well, not all liberals are Satan incarnate, right?
I think it's important for people to know that even if they don't have, or whoever it is, like you're pretty much saying like I'm not going out of my way, or my goal is not to oppress your opinion. I hear it, I understand. This is what I'm about. I'm not trying to extinguish your personal beliefs. I'm just saying I disagree, and that's okay.
Yeah, and that may seem foreign, I think, to a lot of people. A lot of people might hear what I just said and be like, "Wait, what?"
Because it's a dichotomy where one must prevail over the other.
Exactly. There has to be like you can't admit
you can't have both.
You can't have both, exactly. And by doing so, you are admitting that you're wrong, and like you can't do that. It's this weird. I don't know. For me, like. It's not about the ego. Like, I'm able to set my ego aside if I'm thinking I'm trying to be a good Christian. Like,
well, I think to its root, it also has to do with establishing your dominance for sake of safety. Meaning, okay, if whether it is physical, like it would have been thousands of years ago, or just mental. If you establish your dominance, then you don't have to worry. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, there's a bit of a burden.
Yeah, it's very animalistic.
You don't have to worry anymore. So
Darwinian theory.
Too, yeah.
Absolutely. The alpha male.
Yeah.
Has existed long before. So, yeah, I just found that was a very interesting little controversy.
On a similar note, did you see that yesterday there were raids on, I think, almost 100 7-Eleven stores?
I know. It was kind of like an incognito story that was like never really trending, but it kind of like was out there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I saw it here, I saw it there, but no one really was talking a lot about it. It's just like, oh, this happened kind of thing. That was crazy. Over 100 7-Eleven stores raided.
I can't remember.
Last I saw 26 illegal immigrants caught in those raids.
Yeah, I can't remember that. I think it was 91 were raided and like 21 were arrested.
Okay, 21.
Maybe,
yeah,
I believe that's what the numbers
That sounds about right.
But I saw that and I thought, I'm just shaking my head and rolling my eyes, and I'm just like, really? You're going to choose 7-Eleven?
I know.
Like you couldn't just make this a more blanket statement like we're going, just make it 91 arrests across various industries. Like, no, we're going after 7-Eleven because that's where the terrorists are. Yeah. Or that's where the
people who look like
like fucking
who don't look like us.
Oh my gosh.
Like, yeah.
There was a law in Arizona a while ago where they were like, all right, you pretty much police have the authority to legally just pull someone over if they look Mexican, so you can check their papers.
Yes.
No,
that's
you
right.
Can't fucking do
Jan
that.
Brewer
you
was the governor.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You guys are idiots.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just pick some 7-Elevens.
I cannot think of another like chain of businesses that would be more stereotypical for
for sure.
What's the business chain of the immigrant?
Yeah.
7-Eleven. Wow. Yeah, for me, I was stunned but not surprised.
Wasn't there a documentary or a story called A Day Without an Immigrant, wasn't there some movement where like one day it was encouraged people who weren't from this country just not to show up to work and see how much of a domino effect that would have for a business day?
Yes, and it's substantial. Like it's something like 8%.
I would love to know how much work would not get done if I'm not saying that people who are illegally in the country should stay in the country, but I would love to know how much work is done on the country's behalf by people who are here illegally doing work that wouldn't have otherwise been done.
I mean,
there's no way to measure that. There's no way to measure
it's
that.
impossible to. And until we see some sort of national economic hit due to all this like terrorizing minorities, it's going to keep going on as long as Trump is president. I mean, like, what is that? They're sending, I forget whether it was Salvadorian or Honduras refugees. They're sending 200,000 of them back to their nation where there's like a civil war going on. Mm-hmm. I can't remember which one. If you know,
I don't recall. No,
but it's like, I mean, just this concerted effort to go after brown and black people is just so just whatever. We're not even going to disguise it. This is what we're doing. Sorry, you were going to say?
No, I wasn't going to say anything. I'm just shaking my head. Like, I cannot fucking wait for this. Okay, you know me, right?
Yeah.
I have never been super vocal or opinionated at all about anything related to politics for the most part.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for fucking Donald Trump to get out of office.
Dude.
Like, I am just, by now, am like, fuck this guy.
My brother hates talking about politics. He was the first one in our family to buy that Fire and Fury book by Michael Wolff in our family because he thought that Trump was going to ban it.
Really?
Yeah, which is not a crazy thought to like have.
451 shit right there. Oh, yeah, when he was elected, I was like, all right. And then when he took office, I was like, all right, just let's, I understand all the crazy shit he's been saying and doing, but let's give him a chance. Let's just give him a fair shot. I get it. Let's just give him a fair... It's not even the end of... it's been, what? A year?
Yeah.
Not even?
Yeah. It's been, I think, a year.
It's been 344 days. No, 354 days.
How do you know that?
Because it's January 11th today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens in 3... I don't know. Maybe in 3 years, everything will be like, wow, I can't believe it. How many people in history, though, have been met with so much opposition, and then they're not truly appreciated until after their time? I don't know.
Did you hear what his work schedule is?
Well, okay, let me take a guess. Okay, what time does he wake up? Give me that.
No.
Okay,
you
fine.
have to guess what time he gets up. The president of the United States.
Okay. He wakes
up...
On
an average day.
He wakes up at 9 a.m.
9 a.m., that's funny.
He wakes up at 9 a.m. He eats breakfast at 10. He talks about money with his white racist friends from 10 to noon. At noon, he takes lunch, hits the links at 2, comes back by 6, maybe does a press conference, maybe does press conferences in between the back 9 and front 9, and eats dinner, and then just tweets for a couple hours, goes to bed, and does it all over the next day. No, what is his schedule for real? I was just playing. What's his schedule?
I'm trying to, because, oh man, I feel like, because I want to make sure I get this right. You overestimated his workday by about a factor of 4 or 5. He does about 20% of what you just guesstimated. Normally,
of what?
He wakes up.
Or...
Normally, his first meeting of the day is at 11 a.m.
Are you fucking kidding me?
So he's likely in bed tweeting for what they call executive time, which is him watching TV and tweeting. Yeah. So he wakes up like early at like 4 or 5 a.m. and just rage tweets until he gets tired and does whatever, but he doesn't take his first meeting. He doesn't start his job until 11 a.m.
Okay.
And then he does 45 minutes of meetings, then has lunch for an hour, followed by 2.5 more hours of executive time, which is watching TV
Personal
and tweeting.
time.
Watching TV and tweeting.
Yeah.
And then from 2:30 to like 3:30, he might have another meeting, and then he's done for the day.
No.
Yeah.
I said
he has
all
about
of that.
He has about 2 meetings.
I said all of that as a joke.
Oh, and guess what percentage of days he's ended up golfing while in
I believe it's been 20% of his time.
33. About a
that
third of
number's jumped up since I last heard.
About a third of his time in office has been
golfing.
And then this is the schedule that he has on a regular basis.
Wow.
So he's probably worked on average probably less than I work with Ray.
He only has the most important job in the whole fucking world right now.
And he spends all of his time watching TV and tweeting.
Oh my god.
Well, and then this is the other thing too, is that there have been, and I have kind of a counter perspective to a lot of my colleagues, but there's been this outcry of concern over the president's mental health because aides have been reporting him like increasing the frequency of the number of stories that he tells like repeatedly, like just he tells the same stories over and over again, and the period in which he retells those stories is growing smaller and smaller. So now it's like he'll tell a story and then he'll repeat the exact same story to the exact same people 10 minutes later, like he never told it in the first place. And so you have, I think there was like 500 or something, hundreds of psychologists signed a petition like encouraging the president to get his mental health checked out because they're concerned about the behaviors that they're seeing. And a lot of people were like, oh, look at how serious this is. Like all these medical professionals are coming out like commenting on the president's health. And my response to that is it's not, it is against the general practices of any psychologist to diagnose someone or even give a rough diagnosis of someone who they have not personally talked to.
Okay.
And so, well, everyone's sort of like cheering this as, look, even the professionals are worried. I think that's like, that violates a certain standard of thing that rises above one man. Like, right. Yeah, Trump may be crazy or whatever, but luckily we have a constitution and there's the 25th Amendment, which is a great remedy for that. Should Mike Pence ever see reason to be that concerned, he can invoke the 25th Amendment and start.
What's the 25th?
If a president is unable to fulfill his duties and obligations, he can be removed from office.
Oh.
So.
And that can be initiated by
Mike Pence.
Only the vice president?
Yes.
Really? Can't be initiated by
it can be initiated by the cabinet, but everyone's going to look to Mike Pence because Mike Pence would be the one to take over, so he has to be on board.
So you pay attention to politics more than I do, obviously. What's the status on him? Is he a normal guy, or is he a little bit of a? Is he a little too conservative, or what? He's not really in the limelight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he hasn't really seen the light of day in terms of media attention since the election, since they were running against each other.
Vice presidential debate and all that. He's a typical conservative Republican. I think that, unfortunately, he's far too conservative for my liking, and I would fear far too effective in implementing a lot of his policy perspectives. He's very anti-gay. He's pretty open about that. He's typical Republican stances. I don't know. At this point, even I am saying that I wouldn't mind if Mike Pence took over. For the longest time, though, it's like, okay, if there's a crazy person at the helm of the ship, that means everyone around him is going to limit the amount of damage he can do. They're going to tie down the ship. They're going to tie down the cargo so that it doesn't go overboard. And that's kind of what Congress more or less has done. They passed a tax reform bill, which, fine, whatever. It was typical. If Jeb Bush was president, that was the package that would likely have gotten passed. Whatever. Trump didn't have much to say about that. but they're keeping him from doing, like, he's trying all this stuff with, like, the courts, his travel ban, all this sort of stuff. And you see an effective democratic process restraining the amount of damage he's able to do to everyone else. Like, it's pretty minimal. And so for me, it's like, okay, well, at least the shackles are on this guy. Now, if there's... Because right now they're going after the FBI and saying the FBI is, like, super partisan and there needs to be a purge and all that to end the Russia investigation. And we'll see. If it gets to that point, then I would hope the American people have enough sense to, like, make a outcry and fuss to, like, stop anything like that.
I can't wait for the day, 20 or 30 years from now or whenever, when documentaries are made and the people inside the White House are totally free to just say whatever they feel like they need to say.
They're already saying that.
And then you just get all this, like, inside information.
That's what Fire and Fury is all about, man.
Oh, yeah, duh! I gotta read that.
It was just published. You will get a kick out of that.
Have you read it? Or
no.
You started reading it?
No. And a fair caveat, this guy is not exactly the standard of journalistic integrity, so take it with a grain of salt. It's meant to be entertaining. And from what I've heard, it's very entertaining. Right. So, like, don't necessarily believe verbatim, but if stuff sounds like pretty normal as regards to what you've seen in, like, other news sources on Twitter, stuff like that, I think that there is enough of an element of truth to it to make it be like, holy shit, this is the world that we live in right now. Because even if it's just his perspective, like, I guarantee you others would see that through that sort of lens as well. It's going to be interesting.
That is pretty neat.
It was, yeah.
So what do we got here?
Oh, well, speaking of
cold
controversy.
Season, okay, what were you going to say?
These are random thoughts, my friend. This is nothing in particular.
What were you going to say right now?
Well, I was going to say, speaking of controversy, we have... did I tell you about the potential gas station next to the 7-Eleven?
I've known about that for several months.
And the lawsuit and all that going on?
The last I was brought up to speed was that the people were trying to appeal the decision and I don't know. I can't recall. But I just remember that I want that to be built.
I think everyone who doesn't live, like, on that block would be fine with that.
I want it to be built to spite the people who don't want it to be built.
Ray told me that lot was supposed to be a McDonald's years and years ago.
Really?
And I was thinking to myself, thank God that wasn't McDonald's. Like, 5 minutes from my house, I might have grown up a fat kid.
Yeah.
Like, you never know. But anyway, the village has agreed to refund $640,000 that the gas station paid for the lot should the lawsuit prevail and they're not able to build there. So I'm sure the village has already spent that money, so now they got to be like, well, so those bonuses we sent out.
Well, wouldn't that just happen regardless? Like, you buy a lot and then all of a sudden, actually, you can't build on it and we're keeping your money.
Dude, Glen Ellen is filled with doctors and lawyers, like legalistic type people who, if you give them money, they are not going to be too keen to give it back. So I don't know.
No, but what I'm saying is, they said that, hey, in case this lawsuit prevails, you'll get your money back.
Yes.
Well, that should have already been the case.
Apparently, it was up for debate that they were going to say, well, you gave us the money, it's your lot, you can't build anything on there, but
I see.
You own it. Sorry.
Okay.
I see
what you're saying.
Just
like you're the owner of the lot next to your house.
Mm-hmm.
You got the lot. You can't build a house on it because it's in a flood zone, but you got the lot, and you still have to pay property taxes.
Exactly, and no one is ever going to buy it.
And no one ever wants to buy it. And definitely not the Thorcells because they can utilize it for free.
Oh, totally.
And looking at it and playing on it and having people get stuck reversing their car from your driveway.
We had another Amazon driver get stuck.
Really?
Did I tell you about this?
No.
Back right before Christmas.
No.
Yeah. So it was, almost a year ago or whatever, that the first Amazon truck driver tried to do a 3-point turn in this little ass, stone driveway.
Got stuck,
Got stuck in the ditch, was there for, 3 or 4 days.
No. I thought you were going to say 3 or 4 hours.
It was there for a couple of days. They left it there, just sitting there.
Wow.
And so we're like, okay, never again. And so before Christmas, we have this crazy snow, and another Amazon driver tries to do the exact same thing, gets stuck in the ditch, and you hear the wheels going, and so eventually, like, my mom ends up going out, and she says there is no, like, she lets her know, like, you're gonna need to get this towed, like, you can't leave it halfway blocking our driveway, that sort of thing. And it was this, like, small little girl who was, like, absolutely terrified and just like, I'm so sorry, like, all that. Eventually was able to get it out, but it left another one of those massive divots just to show that an Amazon truck driver has been here. So we're thinking about getting a sign that says, to all Amazon truck drivers, do not do 3-point turn here.
Yeah.
Like, in a stake where they would normally do.
You guys should have took pictures of the trucks and then blow them up to like an 8x11 and then stuck it onto the sign. So
we have pictures of the first one.
Nice.
Yeah. So
that's really funny.
I just don't know what it is about Amazon drivers, but this seems to be a pretty consistent complaint that I've heard among people in general.
Why don't you just back it up?
And where they leave the packages too. They always leave the packages like out in the rain.
Have you ever seen those videos on YouTube of FedEx or UPS or of drivers just like straight up just throwing a package with complete disregard?
Oh, I thought you were going to say walking into people's houses.
No, complete disregard for the contents inside. Just like tossing it on shit and like throwing it over fences.
Seen that before, but
there's like compilation videos of drivers just having complete disregard for other people's things delivering, but they don't care.
Yeah. And then the other thing too is, this is just an interesting little nugget, but are you familiar at all, or did you hear about the whole Disney acquisition of Fox?
Yes.
Okay. And the fact that, like, there's a bunch of superhero stuff happening now.
Yes.
Which is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But they're changing a lot of dates around to, like, align. Disney's trying to align. So, like, Deadpool is getting moved up into, I think it's going to be, like, May or something like that, or March. I don't know. But
are they trying to move up films with
they're
just
moving
the
back
one
a lot of
superhero
movies
so they can make another giant super film with all the superheroes?
No, right now they're just like realigning all the movie schedules so that Disney basically gets the maximum profit. You have one studio producing one superhero film, and then 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, like after all the buzz is down, you have the next like super powered studio coming out with theirs, but they're all under the Disney Corporation. Okay. So it's gonna just be this constant cash cycle that's coming in. They're killing the superhero market. I wonder how much longer this whole superhero trend is going to last. Because, like, every other movie it feels like that comes out is a superhero movie.
It has been
10 years.
No, it's been 6.
Iron Man.
It's been more than that. It started with Spider-Man. When Spider-Man came out,
if you want to really go that
Tobey
back
Maguire,
that far. I mean, that was the first one, but it didn't really get started until The Dark Knight.
You need a spark before you get a flame.
Fine, we'll call it the spark. I'm fine calling it the spark.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not. No, that wasn't. Yeah, I mean, it was super popular, but
that was back like
2002.
2002.
Spring 2002.
Are you sure?
Yep. You want to make a bet? You want to check Google again?
You know I can't bet.
It was spring 2002. I meant that as a
rhetorical
colloquial saying.
Well said. Good vocab word. Yeah, so I was just messing. But 16 years. That's 16 years ago that it first started. And it's like at the height right now.
Because after Spider-Man, there was Spider-Man 2002, and then Spider-Man 2, and then Spider-Man 3, and then there was Hulk with Eric Bana, and then there was Iron Man, and then there was Batman. And then Batman really set things off. Iron Man was really... No. Batman was 2006. Before. 2005, I think.
Yeah.
And then Iron Man was 2006 or 2007. Hulk was still like in 2004 with Eric Bana. And then those became super popular, and then everything just unraveled from there.
I mean, the fact that Marvel has really just captured the spirit of all these different...
I forgot. X-Men was 2001.
Oh, yeah. X-Men. That was...
2001, yeah.
Yeah, that was the lead-off right there. It was X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what were you going to say?
Just that, I mean... So Marvel doesn't just do superhero movies. They do genres of superhero movies. Like, they'll do like a buddy comedy in Guardians of the Galaxy. They'll do a heist type superhero movie with Ant-Man. Like Ant-Man is a heist. I've seen Ant-Man. Ant-Man is basically a heist movie, but with superheroes. And comedy, drama, action. So I mean, all these different movie categories just fall under the superhero blanket, and so they're able to diversify. Deadpool Marvel? No, Deadpool was. Oh man.
Someone out there is like, Fox. You fucking
they're Fox. They're Fox.
Is Deadpool Marvel? Are you an idiot? I don't know.
He's gonna be.
I'm not a comic book guy.
He's not DC. Yeah, he's originally a Marvel superhero.
Okay. I was thinking because that's like super graphic and gore.
Oh yeah, like, no, I don't know.
There's tits in that movie if I remember correctly.
Yes, and a butthole.
And a butthole. I don't remember that.
So on that note. Yeah. And just one more thing about the fucking weather. Did you see? I was watching all day. The line of cold descending into the Midwest. It was just a solid sheet of just coldness, wiping away this 55-degree weather that we've been enjoying for 2 days now.
I do want to say one thing completely unrelated to everything else we've been saying, kind of. I've been watching the Twilight Zone a lot because I have so many episodes recorded from like the 60s, right? And there were 2 episodes that I've watched, and I know there's going to be more out there, where I kind of was like, tilt my head and I was like, wait, did I just hear that? And then I rewind and I play it again. I'm like, nope, they just said that. And one of them was the wife was like nagging her husband and was like, what are you going to do? Fix yourself a stiff drink, get plastered, and listen to colored music? And I was like,
what?
Wait, what did she just say? Rewind. Play. Yep, she said that. Yep,
oh my
she said
God.
That. And then I was listening to another one, and William Shatner was in this episode. A young, like 29-year-old William Shatner. And he's having an argument with his girlfriend, and he says to her, now, please, so-and-so, stop talking to me like a retarded child. And I was like, wait, did he just say that also? Or he like I'm retarded, or like I don't think he said retard, because that was something that probably evolved more recently than in the 60s.
Yeah.
It was just, stop talking to me like a retarded child, or like I'm retarded. I was like, I'm going to have to rewind this again. Play. No, okay, yeah, I heard that correctly.
Back in a simpler time. That's the era. That's the era all those old white people want to return to.
Interesting.
Isn't that colored music?
It's great television, though. That is such an original show, and every episode is just like.
Now the question is, like, are you allowed to appreciate it with the current? Like, it obviously doesn't age well, but are you still allowed to appreciate it while it still has basically blatant racist or sexist stuff in there?
Yeah, because it's not like I'm focused. It's not like I'm honing in on that one thing. It was like a blip.
Because you're a white kid. Because you're a white kid who doesn't know any better, who needs to shut up.
It's such an awesome show.
Yeah. No, it really is super creative.
It's super, super, super awesome.
I've always enjoyed it.
And I think I see a lot of the actresses on that show. I'm like, oh wow, you're so pretty, but you're probably dead right now or super, super old.
You're probably right.
There's an episode that I really liked where it's, oh man, dude, you gotta watch some of those episodes. They're just so creative.
I've seen some of them. The where he loses his glasses. He's the last person on Earth.
Oh, when he was looking for the books?
For the books, yeah.
That's a famous one,
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and he drops the glasses and he gets them all lined up in the library and then they break.
Yep.
There's this other one where there's like the whole episode you don't see anyone's face because it's like this futuristic society, and this woman has her face in bandages and she's going through all these procedures so she looks like everyone else, and throughout the episode they're like, she's so hideous, she's so ugly, oh my goodness, and they take the bandages off and she's beautiful, and then you get to see the face of the doctors and everyone else, and their faces are all like fucked up, and the whole concept of the show is like beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Like, oh, you're gonna go off to a place with your own kind. Here's so and so. He's one of your kind. He's gonna take you there. This strikingly handsome man. It's like, what backwards ass place are they living in right now? Where beauty is viewed as ugly and ugly is viewed as beauty. But a lot of those episodes have messages that will hold up till the end of time.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're so
eternal
great.
truths.
Yes.
So they say.
Just so great. Oh,
yeah.
I love that show. Well, what else do you have?
I'm done, man.
All right. Well, I think that's everything. Right? What?
Your sign off, man. You gotta come prepared.
I'm just afraid because I feel like you don't like it.
Is just killing me right now.
I'm okay with it, but I feel like you still don't like it.
Letting the silence linger and fade away.
Fade away like this. My presence from the table.
Just rolling slowly away.
Until next time.